Well, actually, they don't think it. They think it can help them. They think they can't afford it. And so, one of the things I always talk about is it's kind of the big three, Bill. It's, can it increase leads and revenue? Can you decrease a cost like a manpower, or can you decrease like a software rental if you're using something now? If you can do one of those things, then you got to build it. You got to do it.
If you want to learn how to mint money, then you've come to the right place. You're on the right channel. You're on the Unstoppables, that place where we turn those intentions, those ideas into dollars. Minting money. My guest, he's a return guest, and you got to be good to have a return on the Unstoppables, right? You got to be really good. You got to have real value. He does. He's my friend, Jeremy Callahan. Welcome back to the Unstoppables, my friend.
Hey, Bill. Great to be back for the second show, man.
You're one of the few, the proud, the really good.
Wow. That's good.
Last time we talked about success, and we talked about failure. We talked about where you started, how you started.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about where you started again, just as a refresher. And then we're going to jump into the really exciting thing you're doing now that's really, really cool. So So
just a quick overview, man. I started out after college, I was a political science major, and I was going to be an attorney, and came up with an idea for a website. And so I didn't know what to do at that time, so I went and I learned how to become a web programmer and program websites. I went to Borders every day and read books, and became a web developer. And then in about 2011, I saw the trend, the handwriting on the wall that everything was going mobile. And so I, once again, came up with an idea for a mobile app, and I went right back to the drawing board. There wasn't much information about how to do it, so I learned again all on my own. And I've developed several apps, many apps really, and still some websites we do, and work with some of the biggest companies on the planet, all the way down to small startups, new businesses. I have a few apps that I started my own that I run that generate some revenue as well.
When you're talking, I'm listening for one thing. You're talking about, I thought this, I had this idea, and then I started this. That to me is really the embodiment of one of my guiding mantras. It's called think and do. And the shorter that distance between that thought and its action, I think the greater the likelihood of the intended result, and the opposite's also true. So you have a thought, you do it. You're shortening that window, man. You're just going.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it was like Napoleon Hill said, the time to nurse an idea is at the very beginning. It's like a baby. It takes the most care in the beginning.
Right.
You got to stay up all night. You got to work it, and then go from there.
So it's important to go. In starting, there's always that residue. To succeed, there's failure.
Yeah.
So how many failures did you have going through apps to make sure the app works, and how'd you deal with failure?
I mean, it's like constant. Every day is a failure, essentially. I mean, the one thing that I can say is it's like the paradox of software engineering. We always say it's like the longer it goes, the more difficult it becomes, and the more errors and things that you're prone to. But over the years, when I started looking at the process that I was doing, I was always very good at assessing myself, and I started looking at what was successful and what wasn't. And I really started drilling in, and I started getting rid of the things that were really a waste of time, a waste of effort, and just stopped doing those things, or started recognizing it when they were coming along so we could move around them faster.
And you're doing one of the most powerful things you can do to move around failure and to learn from failure is you weren't as emotionally invested in certain things. You were able to step back and use your head objectively to say, okay, done this, may love this, didn't work, bam, go. So you're able to use that more, let's say, unemotional type of approach than the emotional one that I'm in love with my product, man. I'm going to jam this thing till it works, and it ends up just breaking. That's what happens to me. It happens to me. We got a connection because, see, you're a poli-sci major. I had a poli-sci major and a psych minor because I wanted to be an attorney. And here we are.
Yeah. Thank God it didn't work out.
Really, because we make more money. I think I make more money than I would have done as a top flight attorney. So that tells you how overpaid we are in the insurance industry. It's not a matter of talent, okay? It's a matter of, do you have the will to
That's right.
app or not to app, though? You created an app, and this is getting a lot of buzz in the industry. You created an app, and it's called Minting Money with Apps, right? So it's a course. There's a course, Minting Money with Apps. Tell me where we find the course.
Okay, so it's an online course. It's called Minting Money with Apps. You can go to my website, jeremycallahan.com. Right on the front, there's a button that says Minting Money with Apps. Click it, and that will take you to the course.
I just start thinking about things in a dryer and money coming out, and is it hundreds and stuff like that. So take me inside this course. Why and what will it do for me?
Okay, so the course is basically how to create and launch an app within 90 days. And this is even if you don't really have a good app idea or think you have a good app idea, you don't need to know how to code. And if you don't know where to start, this course is for you. My goal for you is really the only way right now that we're seeing in businesses is that everything is mobile, right? If you have a website or whatever business you're in, I want you to look at the traffic or ask your web developer how much of the traffic is coming from mobile devices. And it'll be over 70%. It'll probably be as high as 85. So, and it's only trending higher over the next few years. So you need to have a mobile solution, whether it's a mobile website or a mobile app. And really the only way to build apps is through the program I've created. So the program I've created is basically a step-by-step process that takes you from an idea, which most people have. Most people have an idea and they have no idea where to start. And so it takes you from that idea all the way through to the end. Now, this is not like I'm going to sit there and teach you how to code. I could, but I'm not going to do that, okay? I'm going to teach you the steps that you need to take to have a successful app. And a lot of that has to do with planning. A lot of it has to do with marketing. To set a market. How can you find out if there's actually a market before you go in? So you pay for the course is $295. It's a giveaway, okay? It's basically, hey, look at this program, and I'm going to, for 200, well, actually probably for like 500 bucks, you bought the program for 295 for another 200 bucks. You can tell if there's a market for your app, if it's going to make you money. You can go and actually run ads and find out if there's a market for your app before you get started, before you sink in a lot of money. And if you do have a good idea, it's going to teach you all the steps. It's going to get you from 0 to 100 a lot faster than you could on your own.
See that nice green behind the wall that matches that green on your shirt? See, I'm dripping with green from envy because one of my courses is sales courses and stuff that's just concepts, and you got a real product. Man, I got to change that up some. You got a real product. And this product, you say, if you don't have this, if you don't have an app, you're losing money. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you're dead, okay? You're dead. I mean, your business is not going to go anywhere if you don't have an app. Look at what happened to cab companies. They saw Uber come around and they all thought, well, we'll sue them out of business. We'll protest. All the cab company had to do was go build their own app. And they're still, Uber's nothing without that. You know what I mean? Like if they compete. So everything, it's like, you got to compete. You've got to evolve your business. Most of the business owners I talk to who contact me actually have ideas for apps, and they haven't moved on them because the last 5 years, apps have only been for the big players. They've only been for the major guys. It's like everybody thinks it's a luxury item that it's not for me. I'm a smaller business or I'm a mid-sized business. It can't help us. Well, actually, they don't think it. They think it can help them. They think they can't afford it. And so one of the things I always talk about is it's kind of the big three, Bill. It's, can it increase leads and revenue? Can you decrease a cost like a manpower, or can you decrease like a software rental if you're using something now? If you can do one of those things, then you got to build it. You got to do it.
One of the parts of the course is the app brainstorm guide.
Yeah.
Guide me through this brainstorm. Tell me about that section.
So basically what I did is I just broke down in 2 sections. On one side, I have all the ways that an app can increase leads to your business. Okay, how we can get more people looking at your product. So there's a number of ways you can do that. You could just put your products into an app. You could create a secondary product like Sephora did. Sephora created an app that you could try makeup on, right? And you could take a selfie and put makeup on your face. We did a prototype with an eyeglass company. Have you ever seen Snapchat or Instagram where the people put the glasses on their face?
Yes.
And they make funny faces?
Yeah.
We did this prototype for a glasses company that basically just allowed people to try glasses on. And it increased their sales and their leads. So this is like some of the ideas that you'll see in this guide. And then kind of on the other side are ways that you can reduce costs. So it's just to get people thinking about their business. I think a lot of people, and maybe you suffer from this, when you're in your business, you're so day to day that it's hard to just stop at some point and go, well, how can I decrease costs? Like what to actually look and, and assess it.
Because you're working in the business instead of on it. So
yeah.
You're more immersed in the guts of the day to day. You don't see from 30,000 feet, 20,000 feet, what's really going on, and asking those questions you do. How can I increase this? How can I decrease this?
Yeah.
Here's the thing about apps, though. There are some people out there who have probably a pretty significant amount, who've probably tried to create an app and have made mistakes. So what are some of the common mistakes people make when they say, I want to make this app, I want to create this app? What do they do?
Well, the most common is people get very caught up in the creation of the app, and they don't think from the very beginning, before they're even coding, as far as who's the market for this app and how can I get to that market immediately. And, I always encourage people right from the beginning. It's like, what's the market, number one, and two, can we test it? Okay, because everybody says, oh, well, I know there's a market for it. I know every golfer in the world is going to want this, right? Or whatever your app is. We have a golf app we're working on right now. Every golfer in the world. Well, how do you know? What do you know? Well, I'm in the industry. Not good enough, right? How can we, and I always do a little hack. I'll give it to the viewers right now. It's we run Facebook ads to just we create a Facebook page for an app, and then we say, we'll take a couple $100, maybe $100, and we'll run a like campaign. And all we want is people to like that page in a particular age group. And then if we get like 500 likes for, $50 or whatever, $20, then we're like, well, maybe we're onto something. And then we do other marketing beyond that to test it up front. But that's one of like the quickest ways to do it right there.
You're teaching me. I'm recording this, It's going live, but I'm also recording this.
Good.
Back. And then the smart people in the room, they're not me, obviously, are going to do something with this. What? I have no clue, because I'm so immersed in my business. I have no clue. So I want an app. Where do I start? Do I buy your course? That's a softball. You can't hit that one, man.
Well, let me ask you this. You want an app. You have no technical skill. Can you draw on a whiteboard?
Can I run a whiteboard? Yes, I can play with whiteboards. That's what I play with. How do you think I
draw on a whiteboard? Then you can develop
all the time. I only draw stick figures and I can talk.
Yeah, if you can draw squares on a whiteboard, you can develop an app. And that's where it all starts, man. It's prototyping. So we always talk about a prototype. We usually we program a much nicer one that you can actually load on your phone and kind of tap through. But really the first step, and I tell everybody, and it's so funny, man, that nobody does this. A girl called me last week. She said, I got an idea for an app. Where do I start? I said, you do a prototype. I'll put the link on my website later today. I have a free ebook, which is called 5 Days to a Prototype. And it's how to actually to set them, not just create the prototype, but to set the market as well. It's a free book I give away. And I gave it to someone. It was like 3 weeks ago. Haven't heard back from her. She hasn't even done the whiteboard exercise. So it's just putting squares up, how people are going to kind of flow through your app and get started. Like when you open an app, there's certain screens you see at the beginning. So you just draw a square on the board and you go, okay, here's the splash screen. Here's the registration page. Here's the thing. Starts to get your mind thinking about how people are actually going to use your app and take you through
Jeremy,
it.
The difference between those who sit and wish, the Unstoppables, it's about those people who want to turn those intentions, who are determined to turn the intentions into dollars. The ones that sit there and don't, well, it's kind of where the mediocre and less than mediocre evolve. We can't care more about their success than they do. We can't.
That's right.
I mean, they're going to be invested in their success.
Yeah. It's a saying I use all the time. It's not my saying, but it says, yesterday you said tomorrow. You know, it's all these people that, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. You said that yesterday.
Yesterday you said tomorrow. The only thing I remember about that is when I was at Penn State getting my master's, it said free beer tomorrow, and they always lied because it was never tomorrow.
That's right.
See, they were lying to me then. They're lying to me then. I don't know. Now, you know me, I'm an overachiever. So
yeah,
I want to make my app viral and successful.
That's right.
Boom, unstoppable. So how do I do that?
Well, the first thing you got to think about from the very beginning is how are you going to get people to share your app? So, you know, a lot of people, they come, they have the same idea. They come, everybody's going to love this. They're going to love it. I know everybody's going to love it. They're going to want to share it. First of all, nobody wants to share anything on the internet. The only people that share on the internet are the people that you don't really care to hear from. They overshare.
They want to share what they ate for dinner, and I really don't care.
Or their political opinion, and they're doing it all the time.
What their dog's doing, yeah, I got it.
So what we want to do is we want to create what I call a sharing loop. We want a way when somebody gets that app, they start using it, and we incentivize them to share it. Well, first we ask them to share it, and then maybe we incentivize them. So there's one out there. It's called Digi. Digi is this app. It like rounds up your bank account on transactions. So if you go buy a coffee for $1.50,
that's good.
It takes 50 cents and it rounds it into an interest-bearing account. You know, in a couple months you have a couple $100. It's cool. But what it does is it says, share me. If I share it with you, Bill, then I get $5 and you get $5.
Right.
So they paid $10 for a new customer, but somehow they're monetizing on the back end and they're really getting a lot of app installs. So there's always a way, kind of as you're prototyping the app, to go in and say, how am I going to get people to share? How am I going to ask for people to share it? And that is what ultimately makes you go viral.
That's actually a pretty good idea. There's always money behind something, right? It's always money in some way.
Well, and I don't know what the saying is, but you know, once you have, you know, how much do you pay to get a customer? And if they give you a good review, right? If I recommend something to you, that's the best marketing there really is.
Absolutely. Referred. Because there's a form of credibility you have.
Yeah.
Referred, and they think, okay, this guy's got this cred. Here's what he's done. He's got a cool painting behind him. He's even matching the wall with his clothes. This guy, we need to talk with this guy, Jeremy Callahan. So we want to talk with you. We want to find you first again. So I want you to come back and tell the audience, if you would, those that have just joined, where we can find you, and that your course is going to be on your website, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, jeremycallahan.com. The course is right there. There's a button right on the front of it. There's a photo of me holding the phone like this.
There's only one question I have.
Yeah.
Did you film that course with that backdrop?
No, I filmed it in New York with a brick backdrop.
Oh, I think I did the same one. I know. Yeah, you're standing, the guy
with a camera about this far from my face.
Right, because that's how close the walls are in those places, right?
Yeah.
And the battery ran out, and it takes a whole army to find another battery there, and it was a really, really interesting session. Let's just say that. But somebody yelling in your ear what to say.
No.
No, you did, because you know your subject. I just didn't know mine.
No, it's the only thing is I make videos and stuff all the time, and I'm even doing this with you, talking to you. Yeah. But no one's ever watching me. And so when I filmed that course, there were 3 people in the room. I'd never filmed with three people in the room, and I was just a mess the first half hour of that whole thing.
Nah, see, you know, the problem with me is I love people watching me, so I just start free flowing, and that's the real problem. Don't go off. See, when you start talking to me about a whiteboard with squares, the first thing I think about is me drawing the actual square, and it would look like a marshmallow. So that's where my mind goes, and I have to have Kelsey do it. So when you say to me, Bill, can you use a whiteboard? The real answer is no, but I have people that can. I'm just not functional in a whole lot of ways. My guest is Jeremy Callahan. There's no last name. I just know his name right now. He is not only unstoppable, but he wants you to make money through apps. I think you're onto something really good.
Thank you.
Really, 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 really do. You wouldn't have come back. You're going to post the link to the course. We're going to post the link as well. And you've been fantastic, but I want you to give me a last takeaway here.
Well, I mean,
on the course, something on you, give me something that just power punches us all the way home.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you always hear people talk about time being more valuable than money. And a lot of people can't wrap their head around that, but if you have an idea for an app and you want to get started with it, the course is $295. It's going to save you. You know how much time I have into this thing? It's like beyond 10,000 hours. I was at Borders. I was thousands of hours of YouTube videos. I've gone to meetups. I've read blogs. I've gone to every programming forum you could possibly imagine, marketing, everything. And all of that is condensed into 11 modules. It's probably like 2 hours. It's going to save you hundreds of hours of time. And not only that, it gives you perfect information of how each step along the way of what you have to do. You can't get the time back. If you want to go out and learn it yourself without it, you say, well, $295, that's too much money. It's going to cost you, how much is, 1,000 hours of your time worth?
You have led me into my own question on this one. All right, they're all my questions, as a matter of fact, but this is one of my questions for myself. What's the agenda? What's your why? Why would you, like you said up front, give away this type of value? You're giving it away. You're giving away this type of value, all the work, all the ideas, all the intellectual capital, all those hours, all that creative flow and juice that's become congealed as an app. Why would you give it away?
Well, because number one, I want to help people. And number two, I want people to know that I am the expert when it comes to mobile apps. Okay? That's it. I mean, I want you to hire me to develop your app project. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Okay? But most people I know in this world already probably have a team that could develop them themselves. That just doesn't have the specialized knowledge. Or maybe they're just a small business and they don't have the money to hire somebody like me. But I'll just kind of digress a little bit. One of the things is that when it comes to building this app, say the app takes you 1,000 hours to actually develop it for somebody to program it. You could hire me at my rate, which is expensive in San Francisco, or you can hire someone in Bangalore, India for $8 an hour. So, or Eastern Europe for a little more, or China for a little more. So there's all kinds of avenues of how to get to that. Sorry if I got a little off topic there.
No, that's going to go right in the front when we cut and paste this thing. That was passionate.
Yeah.
I love it. I can feel that passion. He cares about people. He's got a great product, and you know what? He's giving it away. He's unstoppable. His name is Jeremy Callahan. You've been a phenomenal guest on the show. And before you go away, if you want other guests that are close to, they're not going to be the same as Jeremy, then you got to subscribe to the Wooditch Network. This is the place. This is the place where we turn those ideas and intentions into real dollars. Jeremy, my friend, love your background, love your shirt, love what you got going on. I'm going to buy your app. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.